Hey everyone, so today we're in Olympic National Park and we are doing the Mountain Storm King Trail. It's going to be about 5 miles round trip with a pretty steep elevation gain of over 2,000 feet. There is a rope section which should be interesting how we do with that, but it should be a fun day. I had worn a sweatshirt, yes, and I had to take it off pretty quickly. So here is rope number 1. So let's see how we do with it. Hey everyone, greetings from Sierra Vista, Arizona. I'm really behind on videos, so my apologies, but from here on out in this current video, I didn't really get to film much because the hike got pretty intense. I was too busy trying not to die, so I want to talk a little bit about what it was like and kind of insert footage here and there with what I was able to get. So the first part of this hike, which you saw previously, it's a pretty steep incline, but nothing too crazy. We had pools, which was helpful, just a pretty good workout, but very doable. Then you get to the sign that says end of maintained trail, and that's when the rope section starts. I struggled up the first rope because I really didn't trust it and wasn't comfortable putting my full weight on it. So I tried to do like a half scramble, half rope climb, and it just wasn't working. So I got up to the first rope. So I ended up getting up the first rope, and there was like a tree to hold onto up there. So I was waiting for the rest of my group to come up. My friend came up, decided that she wasn't comfortable continuing on, so she headed back down. But Todd decided to come up. And then we were faced with the second rope at this point, and it looked pretty intimidating. And I was talking to people as they were coming down, and they said, this is the worst one to get up. It gets much better after this. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna try this. Let's see if I can take a few steps. If I feel okay, I'll keep going. If I don't feel comfortable, I'll go back down. So I ended up deciding to go up and just kind of took it one step at a time. This is where I really had to put my full weight on that second rope, just because you couldn't walk up the incline without the support from the rope. At that point, I had a pretty good adrenaline rush and kind of flew up the rest of the ropes. And in my opinion, it did get easier after that. That second rope was the worst. And I felt a little bit more comfortable after that. The biggest challenge too, in addition to the ropes, is that the terrain was loose gravel. So your feet are constantly sliding, which kind of adds a layer of intensity as you're going up. So we ended up making it to the top of the ropes. I think there were about 6 or 7 in total. And like I said, that second one was the worst. So we got to the top. From there, there's a pretty intimidating scramble. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but there's good exposure on both sides where if you slip and fall, you're gonna fall pretty far. But like I said, it wasn't difficult. It's just more of a mental challenge seeing that steep drop off on both sides. But once I got up the ropes, I stopped and looked at that scramble. And I think this guy noticed that I was kind of paused and hesitated for a second. And you know, he really encouraged me. He said, "This is the final push. You just got to get up this and then you're done." So I went for it. And again, I still kind of had that adrenaline rush. So I was actually feeling pretty confident. Then once you get to the top of that, there's about 10 feet you got to walk that have a really, really steep exposure on both sides. But again, it's only about 10 feet. Just stay low to the ground. The trail's pretty narrow, but once you do that, you're on kind of this rock platform and you get a great view of the lake. So we just climbed up that. There's a steep drop off to your left there, so a little bit terrifying, but we did it and we're back down now. And now we're gonna do the ropes, going back down. I do think this view of Crescent Lake was unmatched, was absolutely worth, you know, the climb up. I feel like my footage at the top didn't do it justice, just because I was so exhausted and just like mentally drained from this hike, even though it was awesome, that I didn't get a lot of great footage. You can see in the pictures and the videos how disgustingly sweaty I am. Pictures did not come out great. It was not a good look, but it was just such an intense workout. And we didn't try this, but I read online that if you bring food, the birds up there will eat out of your hands. I didn't see anyone else try it either, but that would be pretty cool if you have the opportunity to do that. So if you're on the fence about it, give it a try. It's more mentally challenging than anything. I think a game changer for us, especially going down, was getting gardening gloves, which kind of just allowed you to slide down. I will say that one of the most mentally challenging parts was when we were coming back down. There was a guy below us who was hanging on to a tree waiting to get onto the rope, and he started slipping with the gravel under his feet, couldn't stop himself. Thankfully, his friend was able to catch him, but it could have been a scary situation if not. And then my last recommendation for this hike is get there early, because only one person can go up and down the ropes at a time. So when we came back down, there was a huge line to go up. So be sure to get there early, and it's a lot less intimidating. You can take your time and not feel rushed by the people waiting in line. So I hope this gives people a little bit better idea of what we did. I didn't want to not make a video because I didn't have a lot of footage, because I think this is a really cool hike and I wanted to talk about it, but yeah, it just wasn't safe for me to let go and film us going up and down the ropes in that little scramble at the end. So if you guys have any questions about the hike or what we did, feel free to leave any questions or anything in the comments below. But this was such a fun hike. It's one of those things that was really hard and scary when we were doing it, but felt awesome when we were done. Like, I felt so accomplished. This was something that would not have been in my skill set. You know, at the beginning of last summer, I would have absolutely not done this, but it's kind of crazy how doing these hikes in Washington and all over have really increased my confidence and my skill set and my fitness with doing some of these things. So it's pretty cool to see how I've grown, you know, in the past year or so.